"That's not a knife" line was nearly cut before filming. One screenwriter thought it wasn't funny on paper. This film was financed by 1,400 private investors before a studio said yes. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in Crocodile Dundee. Number 20. The "that's not a knife" moment is one of the most quoted lines in cinema history. Almost no one knows it nearly didn't make it into the film. Co-writer Ken Shadie reportedly believed the gag was not funny on paper and nearly removed it during development. Paul Hogan and producer John Cornell pushed to keep it through collaborative rewrites. The line survived because of one test screening reaction, silence, then an explosion of laughter that convinced the team to leave it exactly as written. Watch the mugger's face the moment the Bowie knife appears. The reaction is genuine surprise, not a staged performance. That instinctive response is what locked the scene into film history. The knife itself has an even deeper story hiding inside the prop. Number 19. The large Bowie knife Mick carries throughout the film appears to be a single prop. It is not. Armourer John Bowring fabricated multiple versions: a steel hero blade for close-ups, rubber duplicates for action, and aluminium safety versions for contact shots. Director Peter Faiman confirmed in production notes that the angled clip point design was chosen because the full profile reads clearly in frame during the reveal. Cornell approved the design before cameras rolled in the Northern Territory. Freeze the close-up of the blade in the knife scene. The edge geometry and handle rivets visible in that frame are consistent with Bowring's documented metalwork on the hero version. Different versions of the same prop appear across scenes without announcement. The hat Mick wears throughout carries the same hidden intention behind every detail. Number 18. Mick's hat is one of the most recognized costume pieces in Australian film history. Most viewers assume it was created from scratch by the wardrobe department. Hogan reportedly brought a personal, heavily worn Akubra to set and resisted any substitution. Costume designer Norma Moriceau, who had previously defined the look of Mad Max 2 and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, built the full outfit but had her team fabricate aged duplicate hats to match the exact condition of Hogan's own version so continuity could hold across weeks of location filming. Notice the hat's distressed brim and uneven crown in the Australian sequences. That weathering was deliberate, built to mirror a real object rather than a wardrobe prop. The next hidden detail is built into the town itself. Number 17. The outback town of Walkabout Creek feels authentically remote and lived in throughout the film. The Central Pub is real, the Federal Hotel in McKinley, Queensland, licensed in 1901, approximately 990 miles from Brisbane. Production designer Graham Walker added a false facade over the original exterior to create the fictional town name. After the film's release, the hotel was renamed and in 1996 physically relocated to face the highway so tourists could reach it more easily. Look at the pub signage in the opening exterior shots. The font and lettering are a dressed overlay, not the building's original branding. A 1901 structure became a film set and then a tourist destination. That same creative problem-solving extended to the water, where the production faced a far bigger challenge. Number 16. The crocodile attack appears to show a massive saltwater crocodile surging directly towards Sue. No real crocodile was ever near that scene. Insurers banned a live saltwater crocodile from the set. The production built a full-scale rubber animatronic mounted on an underwater rail to create the lunge. The scene was filmed at Girraween Lagoon outside Darwin, not inside Kakadu National Park, because the rig could not be transported into remote territory. According to Faiman in Kakadu tourism interviews, the animatronic was convincing enough that local residents reportedly contacted authorities believing a real crocodile had been imported. Watch the crocodile's movement as it surfaces. The trajectory follows a fixed horizontal line consistent with a rail-mounted mechanism. The most dangerous creature in the film never existed. Number 15. Mick appears to calm a charging water buffalo with a hand gesture in one of the film's most memorable moments. The gesture is widely assumed to be a trained animal stunt. It was not. Hogan confirmed in interviews that the trained buffalo refused to cooperate with any production direction. According to TCM production documentation, a mild tranquilizer was administered on the Kakadu set to encourage the animal to lie down. Hogan improvised the hand gesture on the spot, and Faiman kept the take. Watch the moment the buffalo's legs give way. The collapse is uneven and asymmetrical in a way no trained command produces. The most impressive outback skill in the film was on-set improvisation built around a pharmaceutical assist. Finding an American distributor for this film required a different kind of persistence. Number 14. The Paramount Mountain logo at the start of Crocodile Dundee suggests an obvious studio partnership. It was not. Cornell showed the completed film to a 20th Century Fox executive who, by Cornell's own account to the New York Times, watched approximately 20 minutes and checked his watch 8 times before declining. Warner Bros. Also passed. Paramount then acquired US distribution rights for approximately $6 million, after both studios had already said no. The film opened at #1 in the United States and held that position for 9 consecutive weeks. Look at the Paramount logo that opens the US print. That mountain represents a deal that nearly never happened. What funded this film before Paramount came on board is even more surprising. Number 13. The film appears to be a polished commercial production. It was independently financed outside any studio. Cornell raised roughly $8.8 million using Australia's 10BA tax concession through an unusual investor pitch run in the business magazine Riges, drawing approximately 1,400 small investors. Queensland investment bank Paul Morgan and Company underwrote around 7.1 million Australian dollars. Hogan and Cornell each contributed roughly 600,000 Australian dollars of their own money. In Excess frontman Michael Hutchence was among the investors, and the band's track Different World appears in the New York party sequence as a condition of their creative involvement. Listen to the music during that party scene. That INXS track plays because a rock star put his own money into the film. The title audiences saw on every American marquee was also changed from the original after the fact. Number 12. American viewers know this film as Crocodile Dundee. The US theatrical release did not. Paramount's marketing team discovered through test research that audiences unfamiliar with Australian slang believed the film was about an animal named Dundee, not a human character with a nickname. The quotation marks were added specifically to signal that crocodile was an adjective applied to a person. Paramount made this decision unilaterally after acquiring distribution rights with no input from Hogan, Cornell, or Faiman. Look at the original US theatrical poster. The word crocodile appears in quotation marks directly above Dundee, a punctuation detail absent from every piece of Australian promotional material. The film's American identity was constructed by a marketing department. The Plaza Hotel bathroom carried a similar misdirection built into the set itself. Number 11. The scene where Mick discovers the bidet at the Plaza Hotel is one of the most repeated moments in the film's legacy. The bathroom is not inside the Plaza. The Plaza Hotel does not have bidets in its guest rooms. The production built the bathroom as a set to match the general Plaza decor. Only the lobby and check-in area visible in the film are the actual plaza, specifically the residential entrance near 59th Street. After the film's release, tourists called the hotel asking to book the room with a bidet. Compare the tile proportions and fixtures in that bathroom to documented plaza rooms from the same period. The dimensions do not match any actual suite. The most famous bathroom in Australian film history was never filmed inside the building it depicts. Number 10. The climactic crowd finale implies Mick is inside the Columbus Circle subway station. Exterior shots confirm the Columbus Circle entrance. The interior sequences tell a different story. The tunnel and platform footage was filmed in the closed lower-level platform of the 9th Avenue station in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, decommissioned since 1975. Faiman chose the closed station because an active Manhattan platform could not be cleared for a multi-day shoot. During the tunnel finale, look at the wall tiles behind the crowd. A visible numeral identifies the actual location as 9th Avenue, not Columbus Circle. The same closed platform later appeared in Joker in 2019. Rewatch the scene knowing every interior shot was captured miles from the location the film implies. Number 9. The corroboree ceremony in the Australian section feels carefully scripted and precisely executed. It largely was not. Yolngu actor David Gulpilil, who had previously appeared in Walkabout and Storm Boy, personally choreographed the men's ceremonial sequence based on his own knowledge and performance tradition. Several of his spoken lines were also improvised on set. The "You've got the lens cap on" line, one of the sharpest comedic beats in the Australian half of the film, was improvised by Gulpilil during a take and kept by Faiman without revision. Watch Gulpilil's body language in that moment. He glances briefly toward the camera before delivering the line, a tell that it was not scripted in advance. The most precisely timed comedy in the Australian sequences came from an actor working without a prepared text. Number 8. Mick Dundee feels like a pure Hogan invention, a composite of bush mythology and fish-out-of-water comedy. Buffalo hunter Rod Ansell survived 56 days stranded on the Fitzmaurice River in the Northern Territory in 1977, and later appeared on television, during which he reportedly slept on the floor of his five-star Sydney hotel and was bewildered by the bidet in the room. Those are the precise gags reproduced in the film. Ansell sued Hogan alleging the character was based on him. The case was unsuccessful. According to archival Australian press coverage, Hogan maintained throughout that Mick Dundee was entirely his own invention. Look at the bidet scene at the Plaza Hotel. That moment mirrors a documented real event from Ansell's life, detail for detail. Number 7. The limo driver Gus is a warm and comic supporting presence throughout the New York sequences. In hindsight, the face is considerably more recognizable than the billing suggests. Reginald VelJohnson plays Gus. At the time of filming, he had appeared only in Ghostbusters in 1984. According to The Hollywood Reporter, VelJohnson's work in Crocodile Dundee preceded his role as Sergeant Al Powell in Die Hard in 1988 and Carl Winslow in Family Matters beginning in 1989. VelJohnson improvised the moment where Gus bends the car's antenna into a boomerang shape. The gesture was not in the script. Faiman kept it. Watch Gus's hands during the antenna moment. The movement is too specific and fluid to have been scripted. The film quietly documents one famous career before it began. Number 6. The confident visual construction of Crocodile Dundee suggests an experienced feature director. Australian landscapes captured with controlled stillness, New York street sequences driven by kinetic energy. Faiman had never made a feature film before any of it. All of his prior experience was in television, specifically on the Paul Hogan show throughout the 1970s and early 1980s. Hogan and Cornell chose him deliberately because they trusted the working relationship over any Hollywood hire, protecting the film's timing from outside interference. Cinematographer Russell Boyd, whose prior credits included Picnic at Hanging Rock and Gallipoli, provided the visual architecture. Compare the stillness of the Australian landscape shots to the handheld energy of the New York sequences. Two distinct visual languages, both controlled by a man who had never made a feature before this one. Number 5. Most viewers believe they have seen Crocodile Dundee. They may have seen only one of two distinct versions. The US and international cut released by Paramount is approximately 6 to 10 minutes shorter than the Australian theatrical version. Around 7 minutes of dialogue from the Australian first half were trimmed after US test audiences responded with confusion to specific regional slang. Several lines were also redubbed to replace Australian idioms with more neutral phrasing. Paramount made these decisions as a condition of the release agreement. The two cuts have never been merged into one version. In the Australian outback sequences, dialogue scenes run noticeably shorter in the US print. If dialogue feels truncated, the cut has been applied. The film's very first image carries a hidden personal meaning that neither version announces. Number 4. The opening aerial shot of Sydney Harbour establishes Australia with an image that appears to be a standard establishing view. It is not. Before his comedy career began on the Paul Hogan show in 1973, Hogan worked as a painter and rigger on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The bridge is where his public profile originated, when he appeared on a talent show using his bridge worker identity as the foundation for his act. Hogan confirmed in published interviews that opening the film on that bridge was personally meaningful, a private reference to where everything started. The opening aerial holds on the bridge longer than a standard establishing shot requires. That extended duration is intentional, not incidental. The first image in the film is a private biography pressed into the opening frame. Number 3. Viewers who have recently streamed or purchased Crocodile Dundee may not realize they are watching a different film from any version released between 1986 and 2024. In January 2025, a 4K remaster titled The Encore Cut was released by Rimfire Films. Rimfire confirmed in a public statement that Paramount had requested the removal of approximately 2.5 minutes of footage, and the Encore Cut implements those removals. Hogan publicly endorsed the edits. Faiman expressed reservations, stating that altering historical art creates a troubling precedent. The Encore Cut is now Paramount's standard version for all future distribution. If certain gag scenes from the New York party feel absent on a recent viewing, the removed footage explains it. The film now in streaming catalogs is not the film that won a Golden Globe. Number 2. The Paramount logo opening the US release suggests a seamless commercial partnership. Both 20th Century Fox and Warner Bros. Said no before Paramount acquired US distribution rights for approximately $6 million. The film opened at number 1 in the United States and held that position for 9 consecutive weeks. According to the Los Angeles Times, the domestic gross reached $174.8 million, making it the second highest grossing US theatrical release of 1986 behind only Top Gun and the highest grossing non-US film ever to open in the American market at that point. The BBC One Christmas Day broadcast in 1989 drew 21.8 million viewers in the United Kingdom, a record never surpassed. 2 major studios passed on every one of those milestones. Number 1. Crocodile Dundee looks like a polished international production backed by industry experience. Every element points in the opposite direction. The director had never made a feature. The writers were a television comedy team. The producer was the star's personal manager. Financing came from 1,400 private investors recruited through a business magazine. Both major studios declined before Paramount said yes. The film returned $328 million worldwide on a budget of 8.8 million Australian dollars. Hogan won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical in 1987. The screenplay received a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. The success triggered a decade of Australian productions pursuing international theatrical distribution. Watch the opening sequence knowing every visible decision was made without studio involvement by a team that had never done this before. Crocodile Dundee was built without studios, without a first-time feature director's experience, and without certainty that the most famous line in the film was worth keeping. Every scene carries a production decision underneath it. Go back and watch it knowing what you know now. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?